The comfort conditions in air conditioning are at where dBT dry bulb temperature and RH relative humidity. A 25 C dBT and 100 RH. B 20 C dBT and 80 RH. C 22 C dBT and 60 RH. D 25 C dBT and 40 RH. The correct answer is 22 C dBT and 60 RH. The dry bulb temperature lines on the psychrometric chart are A. Vertical and uniformly spaced. B. Horizontal and uniformly spaced. C. Horizontal and non-uniformly spaced. D. Curved lines. The correct answer is vertical and uniformly spaced. The pressure at the outlet of a refrigerant compressor is called A. Suction pressure. B. Discharge pressure. C. Critical pressure. D. Back pressure. The correct answer is discharge pressure. A simple air cooling system is good for flight speeds A. Low. B. High. C. D. The correct answer is low. The highest temperature during the cycle in a vapour compression system occurs after evaporation. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is false. In a psychrometric chart, dew point temperature lines are horizontal and non-uniformly spaced. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is correct. If the evaporator temperature is kept constant, the coefficient of performance of a refrigeration cycle with the increase in condenser temperature A. Increases. B. Decreases. C. D. The correct answer is decreases. The evaporator used in household refrigerators is A. Frosting evaporator. B. Non-frosting evaporator. C. Defrosting evaporator. D. None of these. The correct answer is frosting evaporator. The dryer in a refrigeration system removes moisture in the system. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is correct. Sulfur dioxide has the lowest boiling point. A. Yes. B. No. C. D. The correct answer is no. For a given dry bulb temperature, as the relative humidity, the wet bulb temperature will increase. A. Increases. B. Decreases. C. D. The correct answer is decreases. The lowest thermal diffusivity is of A. Iron. B. Lead. C. Aluminium. D. Rubber. The correct answer is rubber. A low wet bulb temperature indicates very humidity. A. Low. B. High. C. D. The correct answer is low. The operating temperature of a cold storage is 2 C. The heat leakage from the surrounding is 30 kilowatts for the ambient temperature of 40 C. The actual C.O.P. of refrigeration plant used is 1/4 that of ideal plant working between the same temperatures. The power required to drive the plant is A. 1.86 kilowatts. B. 3.72 kilowatts. C. 7.44 kilowatts. D. 18.6 kilowatts. The correct answer is 18.6 kilowatts. In chemical dehumidification process, A. Dew point temperature decreases. B. Wet bulb temperature decreases. C. Dry bulb temperature increases. D. All of these. The correct answer is all of these. A 1-ton refrigerating machine means that A. 1 ton is the total mass of machine. B. 1 ton refrigerant is used. C. 1 ton of water can be converted into ice. D. 1 ton of ice when melts from and at 0 C in 24 hours. The refrigeration effect is equivalent to 210 kJ min. The correct answer is 1 ton of ice when melts from and at 0 C in 24 hours. The refrigeration effect is equivalent to 210 kg min. The air cooling system mostly used in transport-type aircrafts is A. Simple air cooling system. B. Simple evaporative air cooling system. C. Bootstrap air cooling system. D. All of these. The correct answer is bootstrap air cooling system. The critical thickness of insulation is the ratio of thermal conductivity of the insulating material K to the heat transfer coefficient at the outer surface of the insulation H0. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. In counter-current flow heat exchanger, the logarithmic temperature difference between the fluids is as compared to parallel flow heat exchanger. A. Same. B. Less. C. Greater. D. The correct answer is greater. Environmental protection agencies advise against the use of chloro-fluoro-carbon refrigerants since A. These react with water vapor and cause acid rain. B. These react with plants and cause greenhouse effect. C. These react with oxygen and cause its depletion. D. These react with ozone layer. The correct answer is these react with ozone layer. When the lower temperature of a refrigerating machine is fixed, then the coefficient of performance can be improved by A. Operating the machine at higher speeds. B. Operating the machine at lower speeds. C. Raising the higher temperature. D. Lowering the higher temperature. The correct answer is lowering the higher temperature. The refrigerant carbon dioxide is not widely used because of its power requirements per ton of refrigeration and high operating pressures. A. Low. B. High. C. D. The correct answer is high. The bypass factor of a cooling coil decreases with A. Decrease in fan spacing and increase in number of rows. B. Increase in fan spacing and increase in number of rows. C. Increase in fan spacing and decrease in number of rows. D. Decrease in fan spacing and decrease in number of rows. The correct answer is decrease in fan spacing and increase in number of rows. Dehydration is the process of removing water vapor from the surrounding air. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. The cooling of air without any change in its specific humidity is known as sensible cooling. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is correct. The capacity of the cooling tower and spray ponds as the wet bulb temperature of air decreases. A. Increases. B. Decreases. C. D. The correct answer is increases. A mixture of dry air and water vapor, when the air has diffused the maximum amount of water vapor into it, is called A. Dry air. B. Moist air. C. Saturated air. D. Specific humidity. The correct answer is saturated air. The total pressure exerted by the mixture of air and water vapor is equal to the sum of pressures which each constituent would exert if it occupied the same space by itself. This statement is called A. Kinetic theory of gases. B. Newton's law of gases. C. Dalton's law of partial pressures. D. Avogadro's hypothesis. The correct answer is Dalton's law of partial pressures. The expansion valve in a refrigerator controls the flow of refrigerant. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is correct. The relative humidity lines on a psychrometric chart are A. Vertical and uniformly spaced. B. Horizontal and uniformly spaced. C. Horizontal and non-uniformly spaced. D. Curved lines. The correct answer is curved lines. A vapour absorption refrigeration system. A. Gives noisy operation. B. Gives quiet operation. C. Requires little power consumption. D. Cools below 0 C. The correct answer is gives quiet operation. The ratio of energy transferred by convection to that by conduction is called A. Stanton number. B. Nusselt number. C. Biot number. D. Peclet number. The correct answer is Nusselt number. A refrigerating system operating on reversed Brayton refrigeration cycle is used for maintaining 250 K. If the temperature at the end of constant pressure cooling is 300 K and rise in the temperature of air in the refrigerator is 50 K, then the net work of compression will be assume air as working substance with Cp 1 kg kg. A 25 kg kg. B 50 kg kg. Cl 00 kg kg. D 125 kg kg. The correct answer is 50 kg kg. Wet bulb temperature indicates the moisture content in air. A. Agree. B. Disagree. C. D. The correct answer is agree. A designer chooses the values of fluid flow rates and specific heats in such a manner that the heat capacities of the two fluids are equal. A hot fluid enters the counter-flow heat exchanger at 100 C and leaves at 60 C. A cold fluid enters the heat exchanger at 40 C. The mean temperature difference between the two fluids is A. 20 C. B. 40 C. C. 60 C. D. 66.7 C. The correct answer is 20 C. The inclined and non-uniformly spaced straight lines on a psychrometric chart indicates wet bulb temperature. A. Agree. B. Disagree. C. D. The correct answer is agree. The heat is transferred by conduction, convection and radiation in A. Melting of ice. B. Boiler furnaces. C. Condensation of steam in condenser. D. None of these. The correct answer is boiler furnaces. A thermostatic expansion valve in a refrigeration system. A. Ensures the evaporator completely filled with refrigerant of the load. B. Is suitable only for constant load systems. C. Maintains different temperatures in evaporator in proportion to load. D. None of the above. The correct answer is ensures the evaporator completely filled with refrigerant of the load. The temperature rise between the condenser outlet and expansion valve in ammonia vapor compression system should be as low as possible. A. Yes. B. No. C. D. The correct answer is yes. The ratio of the actual mass of water vapor in a unit mass of dry air to the mass of water vapor in the same mass of dry air when it is saturated at the same temperature and pressure is called A. Humidity ratio. B. Relative humidity. C. Absolute humidity. D. Degree of saturation. The correct answer is degree of saturation. For unsaturated air, the dew point temperature is wet bulb temperature. A equal to, B less than, C more than, D. The correct answer is less than. During dehumidification process remains constant. A wet bulb temperature. B relative humidity. C dry bulb temperature. D specific humidity. The correct answer is dry bulb temperature. The value of the wavelength for maximum emissive power is given by A. Kirchhoff's law. B. Stefan's law. C. Vane's law. D. Planck's law. The correct answer is Vane's law. Emissivity of a body will be equal to its absorptivity at all temperatures. A. Yes. B. No. C. D. The correct answer is no.